Welcome to my video on the heartbreaking story of Louis XVII of France, the child king who never ruled. Louis XVII of France was born on March 27, 1785, at the Palace of Versailles, the son of King Louis XVI and Queen Marie Antoinette. He was their third child and second son, carrying the title of Duke of Normandy. Rumors soon surrounded his birth. Some whispered that he was not the king's son at all, but the child of Axel von Fersen, the Swedish nobleman romantically linked to Marie Antoinette. Historians, however, have dismissed this theory. Louis Charles was conceived at a time when Louis XVI and his queen were very much together. In 1789, tragedy struck the royal family. Louis Charles's older brother, the Dauphin of France, died. This made the young boy the new heir to the throne, just as the French Revolution was beginning that same year. An angry mob stormed Versailles and forced the royal family to move to the Tuileries Palace in Paris. Under constant surveillance, their freedom was gone, but Marie Antoinette devoted herself to her children. 2 years later, in June 1791, the family attempted to flee in the famous flight to Valence. Their escape failed, and they were returned to Paris in disgrace. On August 10, 1792, revolutionaries stormed the Tuileries once again. This time, the monarchy was finished. The family was locked away in the Temple Tower, a medieval fortress turned prison. At first, life in the temple was harsh but bearable. Then came the king's trial. On January 21, 1793, Louis XVI was executed by guillotine. His death made his 8-year-old son, at least by royalists' belief, King Louis XVII of France. But the boy would never reign. Plots were formed to rescue the royal family, but none succeeded. On July 3, 1793, young Louis was torn from his mother and placed under the guardianship of Antoine Simon, a cobbler assigned to turn the child king into a republican citizen. It was during this time that one of the darkest episodes of the revolution unfolded. Louis was coerced into signing an accusation against his own mother, claiming she had abused him. That false testimony was used to condemn Marie Antoinette, who was executed on October 16, 1793. By early 1794, the Simons left, and the boy was left alone in a cell. For months, he lived in total isolation. Some accounts claim he was locked in a dark, filthy dungeon, neglected and starved. Others suggest he was given food and air but remained a silent prisoner. What is certain is that Louis grew ill, withdrawn, and refused to speak. In July 1794, visitors found him dirty, weakened, and traumatized. Though new guardians were appointed, his health never recovered. By the spring of 1795, he had developed a severe illness. Doctors were called far too late. On June 8, 1795, Louis Charles, the boy who should have been Louis XVII, died in captivity. He was just 10 years old. The official cause of death was tuberculosis, but his body bore scars of mistreatment. At his autopsy, Dr. Philippe Jean Pelletan secretly removed the boy's heart, preserving it in alcohol. Louis XVII was buried in an unmarked grave in the cemetery of Sainte Marguerite, with no ceremony and no royal honors. The heart passed through many hands over the decades. Kings, archbishops, historians, and pretenders to the throne all possessed the relic at one time. Finally, in the late 20th century, it was placed in the Basilica of Saint-Denis, the resting place of French royalty, in 1999. Modern DNA testing was performed, comparing the heart to samples from the maternal line of Marie Antoinette. The results were conclusive. The heart belonged to Louis XVII. And so, on June 8, 2000, more than 200 years after his death, the lost King of France was finally given a royal burial beside his parents, Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, in the Basilica of Saint-Denis. Louis XVII never ruled, never wore the crown, and spent most of his short life as a prisoner. Yet his story has haunted history, a reminder of innocence crushed by revolution, politics, and cruelty. Thank you for watching this video on the tragic life of Louis XVII. If you found this story moving, please leave me a comment, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more history on the Bourbon dynasty and beyond.